Top of the afternoon. Top of the afternoon. Top of the afternoon, y'all. This is not a good one. I did not plan on having to do a show today, especially to be able to share the news that's going around. I know many of you have seen, Bob, I know you have seen, and me and you have discussed over the last 24 hours, and we felt that it was our responsibility as elder statesmen at OAT and growing a Facebook community that we create some NFL fan awareness because one of our own was arrested by the FBI.
Yeah, man, it's definitely crazy, man, and it's one of those weird things, man. A lot of folks that, and again, we know what we've heard, we know what some people have said. You know, he's been arrested for some sort of trafficking of some kind, and
trafficking and a minor. Yeah, it's all bad.
Yeah, it's all bad, it's all the stuff that we're as a country up in arms about, trying to fight for justice for. So it's even crazier to have this kind of be in our backyard, And I want to start by saying to anybody who knows him, to anybody that was friends with him, that was tight with him, don't beat yourself up about this shit. I want you to think about right now how hard it has to be to try and fool every person that you know. Some people are really good at that. So if you happen to have the wool pull over your eyes like every single one of us did, don't feel bad about it. Don't feel guilty. Do what you got to do. Delete him. Delete all his videos that you might have, whatever the case may be. Just don't feel guilty because it's not on you. Folks like this, unfortunately, they have a bit of narcissism, and they're doing really, really what they need to do in order to cover their own tracks. So just don't feel guilty about it. It's going to be tough for me, man. I've got so many jerseys I've got through him. Every time I pop one on, I'm going to feel bad. But, we feel bad for his kids and his family and the victims that were involved in all this, man. And it's tough.
Yeah. A lot of y'all know that I've, hung around West Coast. I've learned a great deal from West Coast in the beginning. We initially met up online around 2016. I discovered him going live at training camp, sharing his content into OAT. I thought it was really neat. Somebody as a fan was at training camp taking notes and sharing stuff about players. But long story short, a couple of years after that, we met. We in the beginning stages, like I shared with Bob, I learned a great deal from West Coast, and I never seen any of this type of behavior around him. And I'm not trying to create any kind of excuses for him, but I wanted to come on here today for OAT because Bob and I have been around since 2016 with OAT, growing this community. And we just wanted to make sure that everybody knew we were aware of it, because I've been getting hit in my inbox over the last 48 hours. I'm sure you have too as well, because it was a video you sent me today from Attack on Cowboys on YouTube. And I was just like, holy smoke. Yeah, I guess we need to address this, because this is not just for the Cowboy fan base. This is for all NFL fans in general, because there are a growing number of content creators on social media when it comes to the NFL, let alone the Dallas Cowboys. And it sucks, because just like our players, when they get in fucking trouble, we got to hear about it. And now it's all over social media that one of our own has gotten locked up. And it's sad. I feel so bad for his kids, because I guess that's his wife, Jasmine. I don't know if she was arrested. I'm not here to get into the details or anything like that, or talk bad about the guy. We just wanted to come on here and make sure everybody knew that OAT was aware. We wanted to make sure everybody knows we are distancing ourselves. I know, Bob, you got up this morning. You deleted a lot of content. I deleted a lot of content too as well, because it's a bad look. It's a very bad look. And like you said, not only are we dealing with that, we're dealing with that around this country.
There's a lot of things that hurt me. And let's talk about maybe the fifth or sixth level of hurt I got from hearing this. And all this is now, and I'm hoping I'm not speaking this into existence, because it's going to be that way. All this is now is just some more bullshit for an anti-Cowboys fan to throw at us. It's irresponsible. When you're this kind of person and you get arrested for this kind of shit, everything you've done gets tarnished. We've gone to bat for him and said a lot of stuff. I know that I've defended him on a couple occasions for being wacky, but whatever the case is. And he gave me one of my starts, man, in this whole thing. He was one of the first people to kind of walk me through things. So it hurt me on a bunch of different levels, but concerning us as Cowboys fans, all it does now is it just gives other people ammo to be like, oh, look at this Cowboy fan, da-da-da, you know what I mean? Yeah. And that's what hurts me the most, because
exactly,
obviously he didn't care about anybody but himself anyway, but to have that ripple effect is kind of crazy, man. And to have somebody who's basically broke bread with us on multiple occasions. We've had him on Square Groupers. I've had him on my podcast. You've had him on your podcast. We've had him. He's been all over the place, man. So he pulled a fast one on a lot of us. He's sick fast one on a lot of us. So don't feel too bad for yourself if you're shocked about this. We all should be definitely worrying about his kids and his family and everybody else that's directly involved in this.
Yeah, and like as I know, Bob, that if the FBI come and lock you up, it ain't no you might get out of it. Your ass going away.
Yeah, they take the time.
It's sad that he's probably going to get a life sentence, and I just feel terrible the most for his kids because y'all know West Coast was coaching his kids. I didn't know he was a registered sex offender prior to that. That's what really was the nail on the coffin for him with this charge, the second charge here, I believe. After reading through some of that stuff, I wanted to take about 24 hours to kind of digest it because it really hit me really hard yesterday when everybody was saying this. I was like, man, I just truly no feelings for him. I feel bad for his kids because as a father, I have kids, and then to remove a father out of the house, but you reap what you sow. And like what we're talking about, when the FBI comes to clank you, it's a wrap, bro. Ain't no getting out of that. This is not any AI. And so my advice is to content creators, if your heart is not in the right place and you don't have good intentions, eventually what you do in the dark is going to come to the light. And I'm not here to talk down on anybody today. I am not perfect in any way. I don't think you're perfect in any way either, Bob. But when you make a mistake, you got to man up, fess up, and fix it. But in this case, there's no fessing up and no fixing it. He's gone for a long time, and it's unfortunate. So we'll take any questions or any comments. We're live here on Facebook, Build Different Group. Shout out to all of our Green Badge supporters who've been supporting the content. Thank you for holding it down. Like I said, I didn't plan on going live today. I got my little one here today, trying to do some family time and thing like that, spend some time with them, and then
nice.
The message
crazy
coming in.
What's really crazy too, you've got to wonder, because so obviously some of the details that he was registered before. What he did now was had something to do with two underage girls that he wound up hurting in some way. But he was already a registered sex offender at this time. And what really bothers me is we don't know how long that he's been registered for out there talking about the Cowboys and having us involved with him. But the weirdest part to me is that if he didn't have this blow up on that show with Law, what's the other? What's the guy?
Attack on Cowboys.
Attack on Cowboys. If that blow up didn't happen, we might not have heard about this shit, because I think that just happened to get him so pissed off at West Coast to be like, you know what? If you're gonna talk shit about me, dude, let's dig on you, and that's exactly what happened. So it might have actually been another month or two, maybe a year, that we might have been associating and having content done with this guy without knowing that he was doing what he was doing. So that's the really horrible surprise about this, because people who obviously live this kind of life, they hide everything else. They hide the way they live. So there's no real evidence for us to be like, oh yeah, now that I think about it, that makes sense. Yeah, we all thought maybe he was a little bit off, but the hardest part right now is his connection to the Cowboys and to us, and his kids, man. And that's just tough shit, man.
Yeah, Sarah Prototype is tapping in. Green Badge supporter says it says he was already a registered offender. How did none of us know this? And that's where I feel guilty the most. Like, I consider myself a good character of judgment. You know what I mean? I made some mistakes before, but usually I can, like you said, Bob, you can pick up on somebody's vibe within 10 minutes and find out what kind of really energy they're on. But, like you say, narcissists and people that are, up to no good can conceal and hide things. But I guess now, I mean, if somebody's, going to be on social media, if you want to follow them or if you want to connect with them, especially off of social media on, at games and things like that, this has got to raise the question. And this is why I wanted to come live here today and share with all of our followers, because you've got to be careful who you're following on social media. Bob and I have been in the trenches here on OAT since 2016. We've tried to bring you consistent content. We've tried to make sure we both got moral compasses, that we're both centered in our lives. Yet some of y'all have seen things. Bob had flooding going on out there and everything. Things happen. I went through a divorce. A lot of people don't know the details on that, but that affected me about 5 years ago. About 5 of y'all on live here know about that. But a lot of that stuff don't get shared. But this type of stuff here is, you got to, really pay attention. There's a lot of creators on YouTube. There's a lot of creators everywhere. I see new creators every day coming out on Facebook talking about the Cowboys, because now you can get monetized on the platform. And with that, like I said, my advice is make sure your heart is in the right place. Make sure you have good intentions, because you can chase that coin on these platforms, but don't jeopardize your livelihood, your freedom, your family, and your kids, most of all, for the sake of a damn check from a platform.
Yeah, and on top of it too, when Sarah was asking, if he was a registered sex offender, how did we not know? And how was he around kids? How did we not know is a much bigger answer, is a much easier thing to answer. How he was around kids, I don't effing know. But
yeah, he was coaching his own kids in the public. And I'm like, I mean, dude, because I know I've registered Bryce. You know, there's background checks. There's thing that has to go into this stuff. Like, you know, to find out, you know, make sure we don't have people around us that we shouldn't. But it brings up a great question. He concealed it very well, especially for me. And maybe I might have been blind to the fact because, you know, the guy was teaching me some things early on in my beginnings. Y'all know me and West Coast hung out pretty tough. I wrote an article that's still up about him on officialamericas.team.com. I'm debating on whether I take it down. So let me know in the comments, do I leave it up or do I take it down? Because I've deleted every other piece of content outside of that. And so I want to get y'all's input on that. This is a community chat. So come and tap in and let us know your thoughts. This is a sad day for Cowboys Nation.
Unfortunately, there's no scarlet letter. There's no branding. There's no tag you put on somebody when they become a registered sex offender. They don't walk around with a special T-shirt that says, I did some fucked up shit. It doesn't work like that. They're registered so that people can publicly find that information out. You can go to a database and find that out, but it's not something that you carry with you like a license or any shit like that. Unfortunately, we can't burn these folks so that they're marked and we know them socially. So for folks to say, how did we not know? It's super easy. If we were not within his 10 feet of circle, none of us would have known that. A registered sex offender is just that, someone who's on a sexual offender registry. They're not walking around having to yell at people and tell them that's exactly what they do. So it's easy for us to not know. The system is broken in multiple ways, folks. That's a whole different conversation. But we're not going to know that. It's a way for them to sort of pay a price, but for us as a public to be able to find out who they are, but only if you go to the database to look it up. And that's really the hard part about all this to swallow, among the other things. So the reason why we didn't know is because we couldn't know. We're just going to have to start going on the list and start looking for people, unfortunately, if we think we want to clear somebody. Because that's hard. That's hardcore, man.
Yeah, Troy Park brings up a great point. People put off energy online, but not the same in person. Oh, I am a living proof. I can share plenty of stories with y'all. I've met people offline and never met them offline because they're not the same person online as they are offline.
Yeah.
And then you learn about people. Eventually, you'll even meet people offline that are online, offline, and then you learn who they really are after the fact. I've had several people that began on this OAT journey with me who are no longer here with us, admins, supporters, and sponsors. Because I'm not chasing the check. I'm a Dallas Cowboy fan for life. Me and Bob, when we had this conversation, we were in this for the long game.
Oh, yeah.
And that's why you got to make sure your hearts and your intentions are in the right place, because if not, and that's just with anything in life, if your intentions and your heart is in the wrong place, eventually what you do in the dark is going to come to the light. But you bring up a great point, Troy Park, because not everybody online is the same person offline. Shout out to Fat Boy tapping in from the hard hitters out there in Bakersfield. He knows me and this guy and West Coast and we all slept in the same hotel room in 2018.
I mean, you know what the crazy thing is I fully understand the concept of people being different online as they are than they are in real life. I'm the exact opposite of that. I have the exact same way, and BG is too, online as we are in real life. There's no way to do it other than that, man. It's so hard to be fake for that long, man. Unless you're making a lot of money and it's sort of like a job. It's just something. It's easier to just be ourselves, and that's exactly what we bring. We want to bring backbone to what we do on this channel, on either of the groups. We bring a spine to that. We bring backbone to it because we want to be proud at the end of the day too. We don't do this just so people click stuff. You notice we don't put clickbait crap up. That's not how it goes in any of these groups. It's not how we do things. And hearing about this is just makes us feel like, oh, we made a mistake. But in all honesty, we didn't. We gave somebody the benefit of the doubt when we might have had a radar going off in the back of our head. But what can you do, man? A lot of people are freaking weird, especially online. So it's hard to know. You know what I mean? It's really hard to know what their intentions are. And we might not have known this for a while had it not been for a couple people just kind of going off on him.
All right, I see some comments coming in. I see some people saying, take it down, take it down. I had intentions on taking it down. I didn't have intentions on going live today. Bob hit me up, and then we talked about this earlier today, made a conscious decision that we wanted to come up here and be adults and spread some NFL fan awareness. This is not just for Cowboys fans. If you're a fan of any of the other 31, this applies too. People on the internet and off the internet, same situation. Like somebody said in the comments below, I'm not surprised. This is a typical thing we're dealing with around the world, like you talked about a while ago, Bob.
Yeah. Yeah, and we're all. I mean, I as much as I can find, I didn't really have him on a lot of our podcasts. He didn't show up to a few of them, and kind of never really would commit, if I'm being honest. So it was even harder for me to look through my videos I had with him on there. But I think I got rid of him. If you folks happen to see any of them that are on there, that he's on there, let me know. Shoot me a email to thecannabiscowboy@yahoo.com. And let me know what video it was, and I'll take it down, because that's really.
Yeah, shout out to Johnny Gamble. I think Johnny Gamble. Sorry to interrupt you, Bob. Johnny Gamble had DM'd BDG. I think he said he knew West Coast. I think he's the one that just commented. I don't think his wife Jasmine was arrested. I didn't see it on the FBI report or anything like that. But he says, I coach in youth sports, and you have to have a background check just to be on the field. Yeah, I mean, he was seen out there coaching his kids, and I didn't coach my son Bryce, but I was always there, and so I could relate. I love watching his little kids out there, and him being a father and being out there and being active. But really, should he have been out there?
Yeah, that registry thing might have hit after he was background checked. To be honest, some people overlook some shit on purpose too, folks. There's maybe some people who are even motivated to do that in some specific way. So, again, this is a breakdown on multiple levels that has nothing to do with us as fans or friends or promoters of Dallas Cowboys or anything that we do. It's just one of those hard prices you have to pay, and we just don't want to be guilty by association of any way being associated with him. So that's really one of the main reasons we wanted to make this video. We want to field any questions, and we want to let everybody know that OAT, Build Different Group, all of us, cultivating with the Cannabis Cowboy, distancing ourselves from this whole situation and this person, not because we don't want to deal with it, because we don't want to be associated with it. I'll talk about it all the time.
This is what I was concerned about, because the fact that I didn't see his wife had gotten arrested, I was most concerned about their kids as a father myself. Somebody on YouTube is tapping in, Lanzadas Palmoon. Says Ms. West Coast is about to be added to the list, which will bring up questions around the custody of children. Yeah, that's terrible, because if she gets locked up too, now the kids become a ward of the state. It's just terrible. That's so terrible, man. It just tears my heart apart, man.
Yeah,
I feel for their kids.
Yeah, for you and anybody else as a parent, that this is the stuff that kicks you in the gut, man. We found out maybe he killed a grandma in an armed robbery. It just doesn't hurt the same as when innocence, even though an old grandma's innocent too, the innocence of a child who has a whole life in front of them is assaulted or anything in any way like that. It's just tough to deal with, man. And again, we just don't want to be. We did this so that we can make sure that everybody knows that this is what's going on, and we want to have anything to do with it.
Exactly. And we're not judging anybody here. I don't think we're judging anybody here. Like I said, This is an awareness video. Again, I initially didn't even want to talk. I wanted to distance myself from it. And I only wanted to ask everybody who support Patreon here, should we take down the West Coast article, because of all of the support from patrons on Patreon. And I wanted to make sure we got a general consensus before I just made a decision, because you all have invested in that. But no, we're not judging anybody here. Like I said, I feel most bad for his kids. He's going to have to live with his decisions. And yeah, it's innocent till proven guilty. But like we said, when the FBI come and clack your ass, it's pretty much a wrap. Nicole says, you worked too hard to build your brand and be associated with him, and that's why I stay. Take it down. Okay, exactly. Yeah, Glamour Woo in shock.
Yeah, and if it's the issue here is also there's a difference between the cops looking into what you're doing and the FBI looking into what you're doing. The FBI doesn't come and knock on your door and say, we think you did this. The FBI, they build a case on you and then wait for you to slip up, and when you do, they catch you. And that's exactly what happened here. So we're not judging anybody. We're sitting here basically just repeating the facts of what's going on. And we aren't condemning anybody. We are distancing. And that's the intelligent thing that we're supposed to do as Cowboys fans, as humans, as people who aren't pieces of S, who defend children. This is what we're doing.
Yeah, we're going to take it down for sure. So it'll be taken down as soon as we get off here. But we wanted to tap in. So if you got questions, comments, or concerns, this is just terrible news. This is terrible. This is not, one thing when I began OAT and I started the blog, officialamericasteam.com, I had to make a decision. Do I want to be an X's and O's guy, or did I want to focus on the fans? And I chose to focus on the fans. And then I had to make a decision. Do I want to get messy with fucking fans? And I told myself, I don't want to be messy with fans, because then if I'm messy with Cowboy players, they're going to be like, that's the guy that talks bad about players and fans online, and that's just not my MO. But believe me, Bob, you and I both know if we decided to go down that route here, hashtag shit for clicks and likes would be a thing. I mean, we could get real messy. I know a lot of dirt.
Yeah, and that's kind of the point, man. As basic decent humans, there should not be a big knee-jerk reflection or reaction from us. The system that we have in place right now is all we can hope is going to do what they're supposed to do, and make sure that if, in fact, the things that happened did happen, that people are getting punished for it, and that's it. That's all we can hope. But we're certainly not going to lean on it and say, hey, defend anybody or anything like that. That's not how it is, man. This is, no matter what the charges, man, this is the worst of the kind of charges for you to be charged on. And this should get a really, really hardcore reaction from everybody in America and around the world. It should make you pissed off. Because if it doesn't, you might have something you need to worry about.
You need to check your moral compass. Yeah, Rose, I understand. I know you're a big West Coast Cowboy supporter. You always share his content in OAT. I understand. Folks are judging. Folks are not judging. You can decide to do whatever you want to do. This was not a platform that we wanted to get up on here and be messy. I think I've made that clear. Yeah. But we wanted to state the facts. After this is done, we're going to move on and keep it moving and go right into the off season. And, we're going to distance ourselves from this situation. And this is going to be the end of it, because I know if you and I, Bob, we didn't get up here and say anything, a lot of people may look at us like, oh, well, y'all did content with them. Y'all hang out with them. So y'all must fucking be complicit. But we're not. Yeah. And that's why we're here.
That's the way of the internet right now. Going on here and doing what we're doing is going to be either received or not received. There's two kinds of people. Oh, we look at you condemning somebody that, that's what they're going to get. Or you're going to get somebody saying, why didn't you say anything? So I'd rather side on the moral, intelligent thing to do, and that is doing this right now, rather than hide behind and say, oh, I didn't know anything. No, we found out. Once we found out, that's it. We don't want shit to do with it. We want to distance ourselves, and that's what this is all about.
Yeah. Shout out to Nicole Craig, supporter up in Oakland, Indiana, rather. She said, I met BG and he's the exact same person. He is online. Super cool guy. Let me tell you a cool story about Bob. For first time I went down to see Bob, and stay at his house. I know he had to be thinking, I want to make sure this guy is not some crazy. And I'm thinking, I want to make sure I don't walk into some shit I don't know about. And so we had to have a conversation after that, because he was like, all right, yeah, once I met you, we got around each other and we knew, okay, the vibe is good. And I say that because Bob and I go back 10 years. Some of us have been doing this. Like, I've been on Facebook 17 years. I've been doing content for the Cowboys for 10 years. Bob's been right there step for step with me in OAT since 2016, founding OAT admin, contributor on OAT, all the shit. Y'all know him. And we just want to make sure y'all understand that when you choose to follow a social media content creator, especially online, because I know a lot of non-Cowboy fans, I know you know some too, Bob, non-Cowboy fans monetize getting money off Facebook. That's a whole nother thing. But you got to be careful who you're following, because you don't know what they're entangled with.
Yeah, and that's this is a good thing for awareness. It's we could probably do this witch hunt thing if we wanted to, but I can just, the only thing I can stress is, for no matter what age you are, man, you get that weird gut feeling about something, go over it in your head. Don't put that aside. Don't put that to the left or to the right. Make sure that you think about that at some point again at the end of the day, because that's a built-in radar that goes off anytime something real weird's going on, or you encounter somebody with bizarre vibes. I say just go with that. And that's really the only thing I could say. I've been through a lot in my life. I've been through some really, really messed up things. So my radar for that is much more sensitive. I'm sure BG's is too. So when he's talking about we're good judges of character, it's not good judges of character. It's not just that. It's good judges of bad character as well. And to have this kind of happen behind us is really what pisses us off a little bit, I think, because we know, but our radar is a little bit higher. There's average people might not even have picked up on that. And that's why folks still exist in that world.
Well, I mean, I even feel bad to a certain extent too. Like I said, I don't think I'm a good judge of character, but you don't ever know. People living two lives, like somebody said down there. Shout out to SCDCFC Prez in the building. Luis says this serves as a crucial warning to all clubs, talking about fan clubs, especially family-oriented ones. A more robust system for field team members, particularly close administrators, needs to be implemented. Yeah, I've met, I think, except maybe one or two of my admins out of the 8. I've made it my business to go around and see the admins in OAT because I want to make sure one day Bob don't want to wake up and just delete OAT.
Yeah.
Because you don't know what, you don't know what, when you're building with people, you don't know what you're up against. But you bring up a great point, Press. Thank you for tapping in. This is what it's about, awareness. So if you are a club president, you better have some good vetting practices in place because you want to be careful about who you let in your club and around other people, especially these family-oriented clubs where there are kids. And, he was at many of the club events where kids was at as a registered sex offender. And that's sad to say.
The internet is a tough place, man. You have a lot of anonymity. There's ways for you to hide yourself. There's ways for you to get behind VPNs so people can't track you. There's a lot of things that people need for good reasons that are being used for bad reasons too. So again, there's some steps you could be taking to try and filter these kinds of folks out of your life, and you still might fail because people are going to try and find a way to get what they need to get. If they need to hide, they're going to hide. That's just the way it is. So all we can do is be aware, stay aware, make sure that we keep an eye on our kids. And that's all we can do, man. I mean, being on the defense is a little bit harder. You can't really do that.
I was torn. Like I said, I've been around his wife. I guess if that's his wife and his kids and on several occasions. And I feel fooled and duped. And I feel bad that my radar didn't go off like it should. So that way I could protect my tribe and my community here online. And, you just got to be careful. You'll never know what you're up against. But, we understand folks are going to get in the comments, hey, you judging a black man and this and that. Look, man, nobody's judging anybody. I know for a fact that the FBI come and get you, we want to check you out and see if you're guilty. That's all I'm going to say.
At this point in our life, in the intelligence information we have, if you hear someone being SA'd and you even care about what color they are, your shit's all messed up anyway. As soon as you hear that SA word, that color goes out the effing window because it does not matter what color you are when it comes to this. You are someone who is not deemed to be good in society, period, end of story. So there's no reason for us to try and get into a racial thing. It does not matter where you're from, what you are. If you do bad things to kids, then you're a fucking problem. Pardon my Italian.
Yeah. What up, Sam Harris? We see your OAT admin in the building. Said, what's good? Take it down. I'm disgusted by the news. I know you are. A lot of us had West Coast around our kids and things like that. But, we wanted to come on here. We don't want to, make this a filibuster, and talk about another man while he's down. But we wanted to make sure everybody knew that we know. So thank you, everybody, over the last 48 hours who's been DMing me. I had to sleep on it literally. And, thankful that Bob and I had a conversation this morning and we made it a joint decision literally to come on here and make this NFL fan awareness, because this is not only just for Cowboy fans, this is for NFL fans. So if you know other NFL fans that are content creators or fans that go to games and connect with content creators, please share this video with them, because we want to make sure that they're aware. Because although we're built different group here, although we're both Cowboy fans, and although we do Cowboys content, other NFL fan bases have parents and kids in them too, and this should apply to them as well. So we appreciate y'all tapping in here today. We'll get through a couple more folks. Johnny Gamble says, build different group. The Mrs. West Coast they mentioned is only 19, not his wife. Yeah, exactly. I didn't see his wife's name Jasmine in there, if that's her name. But again, like we said, if they do get the mom, then the kids are the ones that suffer the most, because now both mom and dad are gone. And I know anybody who's a parent like me would never want that would never wish that on any parent. But you got to live with the decisions you make. And that's why I've gotten to a point in my life now at 52. Like, if you ain't right with the universe, if you ain't aligned, if you ain't doing right by people, because people still gonna do you wrong when you do right by them, but you got to keep it moving, man. You know what I mean? You can't ever get jeopardized into stuff like this.
Yeah, man, it's tough. It's tough, and it's just not the kind of beyond what's going on. We've already established how horrible it all is. It's just not the kind of eyeballs we want attached to the groups. It's not the kind of eyeballs we want attached to the Cowboys. So that's really there's so many things that are horrible about this, and that's like the 10th or 11th thing that's horrible about it. But it's a horrible world out there, man, and we have our eyeballs on it all the time. YouTube, our cell phone, everything. There's a lens to all the horrors of the world, and it seems like we're still not doing enough to make sure that they don't happen. So the more that these things happen and the more folks pay for it, the better off we can be as a society. And like someone had said something before, if you see something, say something, all those things, it's the truth. There's some things that you definitely want to get in the middle of, and one of these situations is that. So
yeah, shout out to Sam. Sam picked me up from the airport. Sam was a brand new admin in OAT. I felt, I had to go out and look at their pages and felt like, okay, they're not sharing no bullshit on their pages, make sure they're admins. But yeah, Sam picked me up stone cold blind off the internet in 2018 and took me to the hotel at the 2018 Go NFFC. Even bought me a pair of Dak Prescott socks and handed them to me on request, man. I appreciate you, Sam. I'm glad everything worked out, baby, because yeah, it's hit or miss. You don't never know. And I'm glad that I've been fortunate over 10 years to build healthy relationships and meet admins. And I've traveled a couple times to meet Bob. And that's a part of the reason why. It's not for me to get out there and say, hey, look at me. I want to make sure I got good people around what we're building here on Built Different Group. That's why we're built different, baby. You know what I mean? We get shit as Cowboy fans. That's cool. But at the end of the day, what's right is right and what's wrong is wrong. And we want to make sure our community is aware. And that's a big reason why we decided to come live today. So we appreciate y'all tapping in. Thank everybody. If we missed your comment, it is not malicious. We just wanted to do an NFL awareness. So please share this video with NFL fans and let it be known. Built Different Group is officially, after this video, I will be going to the back end to take down that West Coast Cowboy site. It's getting a lot of hits here today. As I wrote, people are Googling West Coast. It's not trending on Google just yet, but I've heard from folks in LA, it is all over the news down there. So I will be going to take that off. And back to business as normal, Bob. As soon as we end and Dandy Don hits that light switch, baby, it's back on them boys. But we had to take care of some of our own dirty laundry first.
Yeah, no doubt, Rose. I feel the same thing about the jersey thing. But again, it's just one of those things that you can't, don't let the whatever sickness it is permeate that deep into your life. Be happy that things were found out. So many of these folks keep going and doing what they're doing and don't get found out. So he was just a go-between. He was just some dude that hooked you up with a jersey. He happened to be foul. Deal with it. That's fine. Wear the jerseys proudly, because it's not about who got you that jersey. It's about what the jersey represents. And the jersey represents the Dallas Cowboys. And that's what we're all here for at the beginning of this anyway.
Yeah, man. Nobody, just like nobody big in the program, baby. Nobody is bigger than the star. That's my guy, By the Cannabis Cowboy. I'm BG. Thank y'all for tuning in today. This has been NFL fan awareness about one of our own picked up by the FBI. It's a sad day, y'all. Make sure and share this video with somebody and keep your antennas up, because you'll never know who you're going to meet off the internet or even create content with anymore. You literally got to run a damn credit check, man. We'll see y'all in the gym on the next episode.
Turn out the lights, the party's over. They say that all good things must end. Call it a night, the party's over. And tomorrow and next year starts the same old thing again.